Hi guys, welcome back to In Case of Econ Struggles. If you're finding these videos helpful, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Today we're talking about a Stata struggle. We're taking a slight detour into some folder structure. We're just doing a brief video because when we start using Stata and those do files, we are going to need to tell Stata where to look for certain files and where to read out certain files. And it's going to be much easier if we have a good folder structure set up. The way I've set up this video, the first part, we are going to talk about folder structure if you are taking a class, maybe you're taking econometrics or econ stats, and you have several different homeworks or assignments. We'll talk about a good way to set up the folder structure for those. And then in the second half of the video, we will talk about good folder structure for a more involved research project with lots of different data, analyses, and programs. In the timestamps below, you will find those split, so feel free to jump around as you need to. And note, while I am going to talk about how I would set up my folder structure, there is no correct way to set up a folder structure. Just make sure that you are not dumping all your files into one single folder, or you're putting them all in your documents folder or on the desktop. We want to have good organized folder structure to make our lives much easier again when we get into that Stata do file. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click on this example homework folder where I am pretending that I'm taking this econometrics class. And you can see I have one homework assignment currently working. It's homework 1. And you'll notice that this folder is empty because I did not make up an assignment for myself. But if I had data, a DTA file, maybe I had a PDF of the homework assignment, I would put those in here. And then I would also output anything I needed for this assignment into homework 1. So when the time came to look back at homework 1 or figure out what to submit, it's all in this nice folder with the class and the homework that I'm working on. Again, very brief, but will help you a lot when we get into those do files when you're working on those assignments. Now let's go ahead and jump back to this example project. Now I want to talk about more involved data projects and some good practices for folder structure. So I'm actually going to go like this and open 2 windows. You'll see why in a second. Now you can see that I have split this project into 4 subparts. I have some logs, have analysis, which is charts, regressions, data. This is where I'm going to be building my data. I'm going to put both raw data I find online or from other sources, as well as any saved data sets I make along the way. And then programs, this is where I'm going to put all my do files. Go ahead and jump into some subfolders. So let's go ahead and jump to some analyses. You can see I have different types. So maybe here's where I keep my summary tables, like my descriptive stats. Here's where I keep my regressions. Let's go ahead and click into regressions. You can see that I've got 2 analyses here. I've got some OLS regressions that I ran on subsets of my data by age, and then I've got some fixed effects regressions. Now, if I go into programs, I'm going to see 3 subfolders in programs. I'm going to see analysis, data build, and data diagnostics. Let's go ahead and click analysis, and then we'll click regressions, and you can see that in the programs for analysis for regressions, I have the exact same programs, same names that I have for these analyses. So if I ever open up maybe this OLS regression and I see something weird, I'm not sure what's going on, I can instantly know where the program is, and I can go to that do file and check out what's happening. I don't have to dig through it. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly what it's called, and it is much easier to find. Note, especially in Windows, right? I can always just go in here. I can type programs in front of analyses as soon as I can spell it, put a dash, and I will instantly jump to the programs, or I can take out programs of the file path and go back to the regular analysis. So that's the analysis folder. That's what we call parallel folder structure, having your programs and your analysis folder set up identically, so that it's the same file path. It's just whether or not you have programs in your file path. So that's going to be the same case for everything. Let's just briefly go through some of the other subfolders here. Data, I have data build. So these are my saved data sets. I have raw data. So this is where I'm going to put any data I have in Excel or CSVs that I'm using to build my data. Data diagnostics are going to be things that I maybe have questions about. So maybe these are some scatter plots of key variables, maybe their frequencies, and we'll cover all sorts of data diagnostics in a future video. If I go into data build, you can see maybe I have two different levels of data, city level and household level or HH level data. And if I go into data diagnostics, I have those same levels of data, same subfolders, so that again, it's really easy for me to jump around between data builds, data diagnostics, and raw data. And if I want to save any logs, I can throw them into this logs, which have, again, that parallel folder structure. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Hopefully you find a folder structure that works for you, whether or not that is what I showed you or not. And we will see you next time for another case of econ structure.